Hi, welcome to Spooky Isles. My name's David Saunderson. Today we're talking to Helen Bruce. We're back talking about folklore subjects. We're doing a little mini series just all about folklore subjects around Britain and Ireland. And Helen's talking to us today about the right to roam, which you may have all seen in the news recently. And there's a folklore twist to that, which is very interesting. And some old spirits are involved. Helen, tell us what's going on.
So exactly like you said, lots of people have probably heard about right to roam recently on the media, and the move to basically stop wild camping over a lot of Dartmoor, and many people being not too happy about that. And I was there at the protest on Saturday, the 21st of January. There are between 3,000 and 5,000 people gathered on Dartmoor to protest, but as you say, it was different because the focus of this peaceful protest was actually to raise Old Crocken, who is a landscape spirit of Dartmoor.
So, well, tell us who this spirit is then. Don't leave us hanging.
So Old Crocken, if you haven't heard about him, is this fascinating figure, and he always has two elements: the Old Crocken and the Young Crocken. And Old Crocken is sort of embodied in the weathered rock face of Crocken Tor, and his skin is said to be like granite. He has a beard made of this like green moss and lichen, and he is a guardian spirit of the land. He's a protector of the land. And then in his young version, he is one of the various masters of the wild hunt of Dartmoor. And he has the ability that if he feels the land has been wronged, he can call up the wish towns from their kennels in Wism's Wood, and he can lead them across Dartmoor, him riding on his skeletal steed and these hounds behind him to, seek his revenge.
Okay, how did they do this? So you had lots of people do this ceremony. What actually happened?
So it began by these people gathering together, and they gathered in a small village and again, if you haven't heard the legend, as well as what I just moves to Dartmoor, and he turfs this woman out of her cottage. He takes over this land. He's determined to make loads, and a local man, Old Crocken, tells him to warn this farmer that if the farmer scratches his back, so if he scratches the moor with a plough, then Old Crocken will tear out his pockets. And it comes true. This farmer, he tries to cultivate the moor, but it totally fails. He loses all of his money. So we gathered, this story was told, and then we walked out onto the moor and gathered on this beautiful stretch of moorland. And we basically, kind of like in our previous chat, we talked about, we already just set the intention that the land was to be protected, and that we were to be able to have the right to connect with the land, to walk the land, and have that that spiritual connection with our landscape. And then unplanned, we weren't told, obviously they planned it but hadn't told the people who come, this amazing wearable puppet. So think these sort of like folk dances with these puppets. Think of like the I always say the Mary Lloyd, I always say it weird because it's Welsh, but think of these folk puppets, and they had one of Old Crocken. It was enormous, and all these musicians came out and they're singing and dancing, and it was just it was amazing.
Yeah. Do we know what's happening with that whole right to roam thing at the moment? Is there an update, or I've not been listening to it for it's been a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, so there is an update. So basically, the original, it started off with Alexander Darwell. He basically he had a court case against Dartmoor National Park, whereupon he said that he didn't want wild camping on his land. There wasn't actually really any right to do that. Sort of this traditional agreement that people could. And he won, of course, the problem. But basically, yeah, Dartmoor National Park is preparing, they're raising the money, and they're going to go back and they're going to contest the decision.
Okay, well, hopefully some of your, how do you pronounce the spirit's name?
Old Crocken.
Old Crocken. Hope Old Crocken is there to help, because have you done anything like this before, where you've actually raised spirits to fight the power?
No. Do you know what? I have never been involved on that kind of scale. So in my own private practice, yes, but I've never had the privilege of, being in this group of 3,000 to 5,000 like-minded people, and abroad, not just people you might stereotypically think as spiritual, a much, much broader range.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating stuff. Well, we look forward to the success of Old Crockett, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, once again, if anyone has any questions for Helen, we're talking about folklore here on the Spooky Isles at the moment. If you've got anything you want to ask, we'll discuss it. So anyway, until next time, see you later.